So it's a miserable, wet, windy day today, and I've spent most of it writing my new book, to be honest with you. Now, my sister's somewhat put me to shame because she's been up for an 8-hour long run on the cliffs. She's going to stay later, so hopefully she's going to allow me to interview her on the mindset of somebody who sets themselves up for these huge endurance challenges. Now, hers are physical ones. Mine tend to be on the level of writing a book or developing a new product, creating a service, something like that. But actually that process is quite similar. We've been talking about success cycles and development cycles, and indeed yesterday I was sharing that exchange about time and it simply being a measure of change. Well, as I was writing my book and pulling back up this success cycle that I showed you the other day, as I was writing my book, you know, your book goes through this similar process. So initially you kind of have got to go through that stage of drafting something together, putting the skeleton form, creating that visual image in your mind's eye of what you want that end product to look like. And then you begin that process of further testing it and developing it, asking your initial readers what they think, sending it off to your editor. Mine's with Verlaine at the moment, and I'm delighted about that, apart from the fact she sent me an email saying that she loved it. So I'm very excited to see what comes back, and no doubt by putting it through that development, that testing, that getting other people's feedback, you know, that process of optimization then starts to occur. And indeed that's what happened with From Brainwave to Business. You know, originally it was called From Inventor to Entrepreneur, and actually I downloaded that initial draft of it very quickly. I then began the process of structuring it more, refining that, acquiring those skills that meant that I'd gone through that process of being an author. You know, I'd not written a book before, so of course there was a huge amount of learning that needed to come out of that. And then by developing it further, by getting more professional editors involved, by listening to the feedback that I was receiving from the early readers, I was able to optimise that whole product so as then to relaunch it as From Brainwave to Business. So anything goes through this evolutionary process. And I just thought it might be interesting for you to measure your own progress against such a spiral to see where you actually are on your journey. Because in so doing, you can then start to accelerate the rate at which you materialise that change. And so maximise the use of your time. Thanks for listening. Take care.